David Archuleta, this is like, again, a full circle moment because, I don't know, growing up, being a fan for so long, it's funny yeah, absolutely. Like watching from day one and everything. And so it's so fun, like you said, having like an amazing group of people in here and get to talk to all these.
Man, yeah, let's
but
do
then
it.
it's like,
fun.
David Archuleta, I'll be super nervous for because I'm like, as a child, so nostalgic about it. Is there anyone that comes to mind? Like, who would you be almost starstruck by that's like just the randomest, like Bill Nye? I would lose my mind over.
Oh my gosh, for real, Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that he had such, and his theme song was always so fire too. Yeah, Bill Nye, the science.
You need to include that in a DJ set.
Oh my gosh,
a drop,
dude. Yeah, because we were talking about how I wanted to I want to learn how to do DJing because I love DJ sets so much.
Oh yeah, it seems like anyone can do it, but also everyone has a different sound. I don't know. There's so many fun ways to go about it, and you have so many fun projects going on. So thank you for being here for a little bit
Thanks
today. It's so
me.
nice to catch up with you. We met the other day at that Idol event. Which was great. Does it feel like when you go back to that stuff, is it like a family, or is it, since it's changed so much, it's like going back to high school and everything's changed and you're like, oh, it's a little different?
It's like a family that brings back stressful memories.
Oh yeah?
But it's like you went through it together, so it's like you bonded over the stress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird because it's like you look so happy and everything looks hunky-dory on camera, but it's just everything behind the scenes is so stressful. Like I went to go see my friends because some of my friends, Melinda Doolittle, Danny Goki, Colton Dixon, did a Mandisa tribute the week after I was on.
Yeah, I was there. I was in the audience. It was amazing.
You were there for the Mandisa
Yeah,
tribute?
I went back for another thing to do some stuff with the judges, and I was right front row. I'm like bringing a tear to my eye.
Oh my
because,
gosh.
You know, it's like you kind of fall out of the loop. You don't know all this stuff that's happening, and then you go and brought back so many memories. But yeah, those are your buds.
Yeah. And so Melinda is they're all my friends because I used to live in Nashville and they all live in Nashville. And and Melinda is such a powerhouse. Like she's so comfortable on stage, but when she's on the Idol stage during the rehearsal, she was like stressing out and be like, oh, I'm like, oh, I thought it was just me, but like all of us get kind of like freaked out by being on that stage.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why, like even like over 10 years later, it still affects us that way. But I was talking to Melinda and Chris Allen one time. We were having lunch and we were all talking about how we're still like would get anxiety from certain things.
Oh yeah.
Because from the show, even 10 years later, and we're like, wait, I thought it was just me. It happens to you too. Like,
oh wow.
I don't know why, but like cameras can freak us out. Like trusting people, giving our number out to people.
Oh yeah.
Melinda was saying like some of her other celebrity friends, like, oh yeah, here's my number, and they give it out, no problem. But for some reason, like Idol contestants are like, we can't give our number out to people because what if something happens? And I think it's because when we were on the show, they were like, you can't trust anyone.
Oh wow.
So don't give your number out. So I'm like, but 10 years later, we're still like have that mindset.
Wow.
I don't know why.
So it's almost like they were not like grooming, but like preparing you for that next phase, like giving you these tips and stuff, but it's really not as relevant as you thought.
Yeah, because others like famous people were giving their number out to people. They're like, I'm like, oh, this is, So I'm like, you just have to deprogram a little bit of, everything
absolutely.
was so intense for those 5 months that it lingered, but now you can be more chill. I can make friends with people.
Well, if it's any consolation, it feels like that would be stressful watching because I have never understood, like obviously watching it on TV, I'm like, how does it feel there? And then being in the audience for this top 10, they look like they crushed it, but I can only imagine what's going on the inside, for them performing and they sounded great. I'm like, does this sound as good in person as it does on TV? And it does.
They sound so good this year, too. Oh my gosh.
They look so calm. I don't know. Maybe it's just this new generation that grew up with phones and cameras and stuff. Maybe they were getting a little more easy with it because I don't know. They just look so calm on the inside and crushing it. So
I can't believe how good they sound because, even now, like professional recording artists use auto-tune or Melodyne. So it's like, even if you don't sing something perfect, you can just fix it after.
Yeah.
But those people, like those contestants, they're singing, it sounds like they're being auto-tuned. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to know, especially on TV. That would be freaking me out is the millions of people, like thinking that in the back of my head too. It's like, even though you're in a room of like, I don't know, 100 or something, but thinking about who's beyond,
I'm curious, like, what are so you said that you watched the show growing up?
Oh, yeah. I was calling, I think I voted for you on a landline.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Dialed it up. Got the busy signal.
I was curious, like, what are some, like, as an Idol watcher, like, growing up, like, what are some like, memorable season moments for
Oh man.
the idol watchers over the years.
I mean, it's just the tension, man. Like I've never been so palm. So that's where my anxiety started. Was like when it came down to the dim the lights and like here we go.
my
Oh
God.
my god, my heart will be. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm sure it was just those words. I just could not imagine handling that kind of pressure of like hearing your name or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like no one's dying, but in the moment, it's like your life.
Yeah, why? Why is that? I don't understand.
And just like honestly introducing me to so much new music, you know, all the covers you do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I love that song. And to say you heard it from the show instead of like the legendary artist is kind of wild for that new generation. So that's kind of my favorite memories. And also you guys like collabing together when you would sing like as groups and do music videos and stuff. I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
so
the
iconic.
music videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would do the Ford commercial.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Music videos. In my season, Ford was still a sponsor, so the last two people they gave a Ford Escape hybrid to.
Everyone or just the winner?
Just the last two.
Oh, okay.
So I got one and David Cook one, but I think he traded his in for like a different car. But I kept my Ford Escape. I'm like,
man.
this is the exact car I've always wanted, and I still drive it.
You still have
I drove
that?
it here to the studio today.
Oh my gosh. I gotta see this
And
when we're done.
And like my the mechanic, the last time I took it in, he's like, "You probably got one more year with it, just so you know."
Well, what was
He's
that?
like-
2011? Like what?
2008 is when I got
Oh
my
my
car.
gosh.
But it's still alive and kicking, and people. I just took it into the shop because I got in a fender bender like a month ago.
no.
I'm like, no, but I took it in and they're like, wow, your car's in great condition. I'm like, really? Because like my sisters get into the passenger seat and are hanging on because they're like, David, you drive crazy. And it wasn't my fault. I wasn't at fault with the fender bender,
Right.
surprisingly. My sisters are probably surprised, but
Yeah.
yeah, the people are like, your car's in good condition. I'm like, oh, it's
For
my
an
baby.
08.
We've been through a lot together.
Oh my gosh. Has anyone ever noticed that too? Like, is this
There have been a couple people who've asked,
Yeah.
but not a lot of people.
not the mechanics at least?
No.
That's wild. How many miles are on that thing?
There's like 215,000.
Wow. And you
Yeah.
took it to Nashville, lived
Yeah.
there with it, brought it. Do you live here now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm here now. I don't know. I know it. It's like I feel like I can almost drive with my eyes closed. I don't drive with my eyes closed, but it's like,
Right.
I feel like I know my car that well.
Thunder Bender's no fun. Are you like? I can't imagine you being a road rage person. You don't.
Oh, I'm a road rage person.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
You like that's how you let steam off? 'Cause
Hardcore.
I'm like,
Oh my gosh. I just
You're honking?
name any word in the book and it comes out of my mouth when I'm driving. It gets bad.
You're a big honker too. Like, do you?
Only if it feels right. Like
Yeah.
if someone's not paying attention or someone's like going into my lane, like, or if someone looks like they're driving drowsy.
Oh yeah.
I like honk to wake them up.
Wake
or
them up.
something.
All right, that's
Yeah.
kind of polite, but
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so we were talking about music festivals because I was
Yeah.
telling you how I'm going to EDC and like I've been going a lot. But I saw you went to Stagecoach.
Yeah.
And I heard that there were DJs that were playing
Yeah.
at Stagecoach this year.
It was one of the most popular parts.
That's crazy.
You're right. It was the Chainsmokers. It was
That's
Diplo.
wild.
It was Dylan Francis. Like, it's not just random people. It's like the
Yeah.
DJs. And it's because Diplo has his own, like, stage there. And I think he's pulling out after this year, but for the longest time, he would do it and then invite his friends. And it was one of the most fun parts. I mean, obviously, I love country music. That's where I kind of started my radio career and had a love for it.
you
But
did?
yeah,
Oh.
I hated it at the time, but then you, like,
So
grows on you.
who was a highlight on the overall Stagecoach? For you? Like, who were you like, yeah?
Well, I mean, Morgan Wallen's so good. I mean, he brought out Post Malone and like all these
Oh my
guys.
gosh.
So that was pretty cool. The Beach Boys were cool, and John Stamos came out and sang.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, pretty cool.
What?
But then like Nickelback was there.
Oh.
Wiz Khalifa. It's just random.
That's random.
Yeah,
Wiz Khalifa.
totally.
Wow.
So it was just a mosh posh, and I appreciate country because they don't really judge about that. They're just like whoever wants to come. Like we all thought
Really?
Beyonce was going to be there because of Cowboy
what I was
Carter,
hearing, yeah.
but she did not. She had a flag flying around the whole weekend, but she didn't show up.
Oh, that
So,
probably
it was
was
trolling.
Like, yeah, trolling.
Trolling everyone. Oh man, so it's been fun. This year's been so great. How's 2024 been for you so far? Just
It's been good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I released a song. Oh, actually, yeah. When I met you, I sang it on American Idol. They asked me to, because I wrote about it. I wrote it about something my mom told me, and then the producers on Idol saw like a TikTok I did about like my mom and why I wrote the song, and they were like, "Can you come? Like, we would love for you to sing it." It made us cry. I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So I went and sang it because I came out a few years ago, like of the closet, and I was super religious before, and like I loved my religion, I loved my community. I still love my community, even though I'm not in it anymore. But coming out, it was just really hard because I was like, I'm going to still be religious and be queer.
Right.
But they're like, well, you shouldn't do that actually, because that's against like our beliefs. Like you're not supposed to be attracted to the same sex and act on it. And I was just like, well, I tried. Like I had gotten engaged a few times to women, because when I opened up about my sexuality before, I was like, hey, they're like, you're not gay. Like you struggle with same-sex attraction. Like if you say you're gay, then that's more sinful than if you just say it's something you struggle with. And so I was like, okay, I struggle with same-sex attraction. And they're like, okay, you're okay. Just try and get married and God will bless you to overcome those feelings. And so I was like, okay. So I got engaged 3 times, like 3 different times.
You're right.
It wasn't not polygamously, but
right. Yeah.
well, I got engaged and I was just like, you know what? Something just feels really off. Like I feel like if I do this, it's not going to make this go away.
Yeah.
And then I met a couple of people who had tried to get married and had like 5 kids and like been married for 20 years, and they were still queer.
Yeah.
And it ended like really messy and really bad, and it caused a lot of grief for like the family dynamic. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like this is what I'm looking like. My future is going to look like this, because I feel this feeling just like it was like a volcano that was going to burst, or like, you know, carbonated water or something, like shaking them. And I just thought I don't think that's right to do to these girls. And like, I feel like I'm deceiving them, because, and the last time I was engaged, I let her know like upfront, like, hey, I have same-sex attraction, but I feel like God's going to bless me. And she was like, okay. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. And I was like, but if I accept that I might be gay or bisexual or whatever, if I accept that I'm queer, that's going to be accepting sin. And I'm like, I don't want to accept evil. And a lot of people, I've realized now, as I've opened up about it, how often this happens with religious people. Especially like with Latter-day Saints where I grew up, they're like, I would rather end my life than accept this evil in me that might take away my chance at the highest degree of joy in heaven, which is to be married and have kids and stuff. Because they're like, if you give into your queerness, you're gonna damn yourself from the highest degree of heaven. And I'm like, what do? Do I live as a gay person or a queer person and remove myself from that chance of highest degree of heaven? Or do I end my life short so that I have a chance after this life at the highest degree of happiness in heaven? And I was just like, so I was really like debating back and forth. And it got to a point where I was like, well, if there is a God, because I like didn't feel God, I felt like numb. And I've had like a faith transition since. Like I'm not sure what to, but at the time I was still super faith like focused, but I felt numb, and I was like, well, if there is a God, I don't know. I was just like, I'm undeserving of His love. I don't deserve to be here, and maybe I should just, you know, remove myself from this world anyway. But then I was like, well, if there is a God, and if they really taught me about like salvation and like God redeeming you and saving you and stuff,
all that
forgiveness, repentance, then maybe I can still try and like allow myself to see what it's like to fall in love with someone, even if it's a man. And so I can understand myself. Like, what is it in this side that feels like it's about to erupt like a volcano and pop because I can't hold it down anymore? If there's God, then it's like God allows you to make mistakes. And I'm like, if being gay and getting into gay relationship, falling in love with a man is a mistake, then at least I can learn. And if it's really bad, then I can learn from my mistake and always come back. But what I realized, it was like, I felt like God said to me, like, if what I always knew as God, it was just saying like, David, I made you. Like, why are you considering whether you should be here or not? I want you to be here as you are.
Yeah, like fighting it, right?
Yeah, and I love you as you are, and I want you to see you the way I see you. Because I don't see you how you're seeing yourself, or how many well-meaning religious people may look at you and your situation. And he basically was like saying, you're allowed to make mistakes. Yeah, so that's where I finally was just like, okay, I'm going to come out then. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to even allow myself to think about a guy or talk to a guy. And so I came out, and Wow, that was a super long story. I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate you sharing with us because that's like what a journey. On the outside, on paper, people could just read this and be like, oh man, like without all those details, it seems like, well, why would you be, suicidal, and why would you feel that type of way? And until you hear like from your firsthand account, it's like so easy to think that way because you grew up in it and you thought it was such like a life or death situation, and it's great to have the context. So thank you for sharing that, and also for understanding that other people's lives and also yours, like you thought about their happiness as well. It's really respectable to be like, I'm not going to set them up for a lifetime of unhappiness, and the same for you too. So did you ever find that and get to experience that love that you were kind of talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is like my most famous song is Crush.
Oh yeah.
And that's what people know me for. And people would always come up to me and tell me their stories about when they met their spouse or like their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their first time having a crush. And I could never relate to that.
Wow.
When I was like 17, 18, singing about it all the time. And it made me uncomfortable because I was like, I don't get this feeling. Like, I don't understand it. But it was like, because I was pushing it down. I was suppressing that feeling because if I let it come up, I was going to feel it for guys. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to feel that.
Oh man.
And so finally in my 30s, when I started like allowing myself to just, if I liked someone or had a crush on them and started talking to guys and I was like, oh, this is the feeling everyone was relating to Crush about. Like, this is the feeling they're talking. This is the feeling I'm talking about in the song that I never could fully relate to. Now I get it.
You had to experience yourself.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It's like, do you catch a breath when I look at you?
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Talking about full circle, that is it right there. Like, I relate to 2008 David now, finally. Like, that's unreal. And so for funny. Like, it's such a process and years that you had to go through for all that to like understand it and go through it. For someone who's going through kind of a similar situation, what advice do you give to those people now?
You mean like coming out?
Yeah, especially or just like dealing with the religious conflicts and because just everything that you've been through.
Because you're afraid that everyone you know is going to reject you and abandon you, and that's why people are like, well, I can't come out. Or they might be feeling like, well, God's going to be angry at me and punish me. I don't know what to think of God really anymore. Like, I feel like I'm a bit agnostic now, but when I did believe in God, the thing that always guided me as God was saying, like, I made you, and I don't look at that as a mistake. And, feeling love is not an evil thing, caring about someone, because I think a lot of religious people are always like, well, all gay people do is lust. And all they think about is sex. And I was like, you know what? Where I'm like, oh, I was thinking about like wanting to spend time with someone and have lunch with them and know what their favorite color is and what they like for breakfast. And if they want to come on a hike with me, and like you get to share life with someone. And I don't know what it is. For some reason, it's like the pheromones or the chemistry or the connection. For some reason, it just happens to be with people of the same sex more than with people of the opposite sex. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, gay people are groomers, like they look after kids and stuff. I'm like, if anything, like, look, drag queens are trying to groom kids. And I'm like, well, if you look at cases, like how many cases of drag queens grooming children are there versus like people in religious places who have had to push down their feelings and suppress them, and look like scout leaders and
Eagle Scout
pastors. Right. Dude, I'm an Eagle Scout too.
You really?
Yeah, I am.
That's wild. Yeah. We got to talk knots after this.
Oh my gosh. I've forgotten a lot of the knots, but
yeah, me too. Well, I can't wait to hear about your Eagle project after this.
Oh my gosh, I planted trees, but
oh man,
I would say like, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked, but
no, you're good.
It's scary because you think your family's not going to accept you, which happens a lot of times. And when I told my mom before I told everyone else, I was like, Mom, I'm going to start dating guys and getting to know them. And she said, son, I love you, but I love God more. And I can't accept this. And she she's like, I testify to you that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that's what God wants. And that is the only thing God wants. I said, Mom, I understand and I respect that completely. That's literally what I believed up until like a week and a half ago, where I was starting to wonder if I should be alive anymore or not. And I think I need to just give myself the chance to live, even if it's looks like it's wrong in your eyes. I said, Mom, I don't need you to even accept what I'm doing. I just want you to respect that I'm doing what I feel is right. And I don't know, this is new territory for me. I just want you to be willing to learn alongside me. And she's like, she was a little hesitant, but she's like, okay, like I can at least respect you. And so I didn't have acceptance from my family at first. But I found people that it was hard. It was like I was scared to talk to other queer people because I thought it was wrong.
Right.
I was like,
Wow.
I'm
It's
not supposed
hardwired.
to have friends who are gay. They might influence me to be gay too.
Yeah.
And that's like literally how I grew up until I was in my 30s.
Right.
I came out when I was 30. I was 30 years old. And that was the first time I ever talked to a gay friend. My friend Kevin McHale, he's a singer actor as well. And he, I was just like, I called him like, so what is it like to date a guy? Like, I have no idea. And because he's had his boyfriend for like 6 years now. And I was just like, what do I do? Like, what is it like? Is it weird to kiss a guy? Like, I'd never kissed a guy before. So he was just trying to explain to me. And I was like, what's it like to be intimate with a guy? Like, is it bad? Like, is it wrong? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I can't even fathom that. Like, I don't know
Start from
what.
square one, right?
Yeah. And so he just like, there's no wrong question. He's like, you can ask me anything you want and don't ever feel uncomfortable or ashamed to ask me and any of these things. You can ask me. And I really appreciated that because I really didn't know. Because I thought I was coming from a place where it's like, all of this is bad and wrong and icky. But yeah, like with time, I think when I started talking to guys, I was just like, I would call my sisters like, wow, I felt this. And I'm like, it's kind of like when I dated this girl. Like, it's basically the same thing. It's just, it's a guy instead.
Not whole different ballgame.
Yeah. All my family was trying to learn alongside me because it's like new for all of us Mormons. And we've all like left our religion since.
Yep.
But like at the time, my sisters were like, oh, like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's tough.
It was interesting.
Well, it's great to have your mom's support because I feel like that's would always be something that would like linger within you is having her like not even approval, but just that relationship. So I'm so happy that's back. I mean, I know she had a little bit of input on the song, or at least you showed it to her and everything. Is she someone that you send stuff to, or like who is there people that you trust to send something to get their either honest feedback or reaction or anything like that when it comes to your songs?
My mom, I actually showed her the song because I was like, Mom, by the way, like you remember when you told me, because when I first left the religion, I didn't hear from my mom for a couple of days, and I'm like, I pissed her off. Oh no, like my mom's,
Yeah.
And then she texted me and she's like, hey, I'm leaving the religion as well. And I was like, what? Why are you leaving? And she said, I don't want to be somewhere where my kids don't feel loved and welcomed. And she said, if you're going to hell, then we're all going to hell with you. We're a family no matter what, through the good and the bad. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. So I wrote the song Held Together for that. And then I showed it to my mom when she came to visit me. And English isn't her first language. She's Hispanic from Honduras. And so she was like, oh yeah, that sounded cool. But like it didn't compute at all to her what the song was about. And so I was like, oh, I'm like, this song was inspired by you, Mom. And it went completely over her head.
It's like, it's nice.
Yeah. But then like she watched when I released the lyric video, like the day it came out, then she was able to read the words and she's like, I was sobbing. So that was sweet.
Was it hard diving into that? Like, were you nervous to put that song out, or was it like almost therapy and you're like, oh, it's so good to finally release it?
It was therapeutic, but a lot of people from Utah and like from my Mormon community were really upset because they're like, how can you be celebrating going to hell? This is so wrong. And I mean, like religious people in general, just like, this is blasphemous. Like, how could you do this? Like, you should know better. But and that's when I realized, I'm like, you know what? I think people think I'm still religious. Like,
right.
I'm like, I think people need to
They
realize
claim you.
I'm not Mormon anymore. And you guys have to accept that I live differently now. And this is my journey. Like, I came from this and it was painful. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, screw you all, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a walk in the park. It was just like, this is terrifying. Like, this is gut wrenching. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Am I going to lose my soul? Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but at the same time, it's like taking faith to leave something that's all you knew, that gives you purpose to live your religion, into a new life. And like, I'm dating guys and I don't know, letting go of those beliefs, like the Book of Mormon and even the Bible and stuff. And so I got a lot of people upset, but I was also kind of like, you know what? I feel free because I don't have to be judged like by my peers saying, you're doing this wrong and you're doing this wrong and you're not supposed to drink coffee and
Oh
alcohol.
yeah,
and,
that's the weirdest one, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no coffee shops in Utah. I went there to snowboard, and I was like, I just need a cup of coffee.
Oh
They
yeah,
got nothing.
Well,
Anyways,
soda's big.
so
if you want your
waking
caffeine,
up drinking Coke in the morning, no
yeah,
thanks.
if you want to drink soda or
Yeah,
coffee,
exactly.
like whatever. But
We all have our faces.
it was just,
Yeah.
it was kind of like if I'm singing about hell. I don't know. I was trying to make a point, and people were upset about it. But I'm kind of like,
But you're
you know
right.
what?
It's not like they can't claim you for that anymore because it's different experiences. Like you're not on the same
Yeah.
path as all of them, so you can't expect them to relate, in
Yeah.
their own way. But on this journey, talking about albums, do you still have interest in doing them? Are you on the singles grind right now, or what's the?
I guess I am
what's
on
in
the
your
singles
yeah,
grind.
pumping out the singles? But
I would love to do an album, but I feel like I'm all over the place. The last time I released an album was 4 years ago during the pandemic, actually.
wow.
It was called Therapy Sessions because I was going through therapy at the time. And I guess I was processing my queerness, but I didn't realize it. I was like just super depressed. I'm like, why can't I change myself? Why can't I make relationships work and all this? And I've been doing a lot of like singer, songwriter kind of music, like vocal, piano,
Yeah.
heartfelt. But then I've also been writing these like DJ songs,
Yeah.
like EDM
which I'm
music.
so invested in, dude. I want to see it happen so bad. You're going to EDC, go take notes.
Yeah.
And come back with this. You said you're working on an alter ego. What would that go by? Do you have any like inspiration right now? What's the name? What do you want to look like?
I'm like, I just actually yesterday I decided
found
on
out?
a name I want to do, and I was telling you that because I've made friends with some DJs now, and they've been giving me some suggestions, and I ran into Paris.
Hilton.
Paris Hilton the other day, and she was so nice.
Yeah.
and she's a DJ.
Yeah, she kills it.
And I'm
She's
like,
good.
I'm like, yo, like if you can do it, I'm like, okay, how did you learn? She's like, well, one of my friends was a DJ, and so he showed me the ropes, and she told me about the platform she used, and she's like, yeah, check this one out, and I'm like, I'm going to EDC soon, and she's like, okay, you got to go to these places to get some some clothes and accessories, and she's like, yeah, like here. Remember how I was telling you I was always afraid of giving my number out to people?
Yeah.
Like, even
If Paris Hilton, you're like,
No, Paris was like,
Oh.
here. She's like, give me your number. Like, I'll invite you to the next thing I do. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? I'm like, I never thought that in a million years, like, Paris Hilton would think that I was like nice enough or cool enough to
Worthy enough to
ask
get the number.
for my number or
Yeah.
something. Because I look at me, I was like, I had my like heyday 15 years ago, like, and I was like a has been. So I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
If people think I'm still like cool enough to, I don't know, talk to and hang out with,
Here
I'm
we
like,
are.
here,
Yeah.
like Brew thinks I'm cool enough to have me on the Brew show. So.
Absolutely. And
So
we're gonna
which I so
have you
appreciate.
back when the EDM album
Oh
drops.
my god, dude! Yeah, and I can tell you my name then.
Yeah. We'll save that. You wait. Is it David the Goliath? Let me think of some
Oh
other
my
ones.
gosh, David and Goliath.
It's kind of like spiritual sense, you know what I
Oh my
mean? Like you
God.
conquered. I'm telling you.
Dude,
I've been thinking about it.
Oh my god!
Hey,
Look at you.
we
with
could be
the
a duo.
creative juices, dude. David and Goliath. No,
No,
David
no.
and Brew.
Yeah. You have so many other interests too. You're cooking, man. What's like you gonna do a cooking show soon, or is that more just for your own?
Cooking.
Yeah, your own
I
own
make
joy.
eggs.
You make eggs.
I just make eggs, and that's like what I'll post. I'll show people like how I make my eggs,
Yeah.
and I'll like. Now I'm throwing in some. Like I'll put in. Ginger. I put sometimes in my eggs. I know it
Oh.
sounds kind of weird, but
little flair, little
yeah,
flavor
a
there.
little flair. Some turmeric and things, but.
Wow.
I don't know. People are like, "Oh, like I love when you cook." I'm like, I'm literally cooking the same thing every morning.
Oh yeah, I
But,
didn't
like,
realize.
the-
You're right. It's just eggs.
Yeah, they're just eggs.
Maybe
and
you
now
should
I'm gonna
double it
make
every day, like
eggs.
2, 4, or 8 eggs. Just keep making as many eggs as you can.
Okay.
Could be a trend.
Yeah,
a
and then I can like
series.
invite some neighbors over. Like, hey, do you want some eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you do like cooking up eggs and beats, and it's like a DJ.
And beets. Oh my gosh.
You're like making music and while cooking eggs.
When you first said that, I was like, beets, like
Oh,
the vegetable.
yeah.
I'm like, eggs and beets. That's
White
interesting.
fruit on the show, and
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
I was like, eggs and beets. That'd be cool. I
giving
mean,
you
EDC
ideas,
goes
man.
until morning, so
yeah.
maybe I could like start the after party with some eggs and beets. Yeah.
Wow. Man, the world's your oyster, honestly. You can do so many things
Honestly,
right
yeah.
now. One thing I was so curious too, I want to ask you one last show question. To do the Masked Singer, I was always curious
Oh
what
my
it is
gosh.
like being inside that suit and trying to sing. Is it hard, or is it just like something we don't know?
It's hot. It's hot in there, but they try to make it as light as possible because
Mm-hmm.
they don't want you to like cook inside. Not unlike my eggs, I do want those to cook. But I was the macaw, and they give like a mesh like through the mouth so that you can look, but you can't really see still. So people need to guide you, and you basically have to memorize where you're moving around. Because one of the dress rehearsals, like I was like singing, and they're like, "Hey, David, you were actually looking like the camera's behind you. You need to look that way." I'm like, "Oh, I can't see anything though." So, but once you like do the dress rehearsal and memorize, okay, I take six steps forward, and then I turn to my left, and then I turn back this way, and I should end up in the right place for all the cameras to hit me.
Choreography.
Yeah, and then like you have people walking you off and. Yeah, but it was really fun. It's like, it was so different from American Idol because American Idol was all this pressure and stress and the suspense.
Belt it out, huh?
Well, like it's basically like playing dress up, like a bunch of big, like adults playing
like
dress
a mascot.
up, dressed up like a big bird, or like a cupcake or shark,
whatever.
Or who knows? Yeah,
and you really sing. They make everyone sing.
Yeah,
that would make me
so fun. You know what's stressful is like I was put up against. They had me singing, like, it's still a competition technically, but I was singing head-to-head with Pentatonics.
Oh, my gosh.
And
all of them?
Bishop Briggs. Yeah.
That's not fair.
Dude, I mean, but it's because they're my friends. So I was like, the second I heard that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know who that is.
By the way, the easiest ones to figure out, if I hear Pentatonics anywhere, it's Pentatonics.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're so distinct. I'd be shocked if no one guessed it right away.
I know, they were guessing, what were they guessing? Like High School
The
Musical
Beatles.
cast.
Yeah.
Who else did they guess? I think it was High School Musical cast. But yeah, it was fun. They did a killer version of Creep. And I was just like, why did they not go to the final? I don't know why I'm going ahead of them because they're Pentatonics.
You had the edge. You had the competition show edge.
No, I don't understand. I really don't
How those
understand.
work?
Maybe it was like the energy. What's funny is Scott in the he's in Pentatonics, Scott Hoying. We had competed before, like in a competition, Star Search. We were in Star Search before, and he sang a Billy Gilman song at the time.
Dang.
And I feel like he would have got advanced further if he sang something like more like R&B-ish.
Oh yeah.
But
wow, I didn't know that. That's a fun throwback.
yeah, like
Both
at
were in
Star
that show.
Search days, I was like,
You were
that's
hitting
how
the gauntlet.
That's where I met Tori Kelly.
Wow.
She was a 10-year-old singing like nobody's business. Like,
Right.
she's been able to sing the way she does since she was 9 years old. It's incredible.
What do you think was with her audition then? Was it just like nerves or something? Remember how that was like?
Oh, on American Idol.
Yeah, it was like she got roasted for some reason, but
I don't
she
know
turned out to be
why.
incredible. It was just wanted probably a nerves thing.
I felt like she sounded amazing every time.
Yeah.
And I think Simon just had some kind of, I don't know what he had against her.
Bad eggs that morning or
Yeah, probably. I should have cooked his eggs.
Yeah,
he needed
as
a
like a
little
10-year-old.
turmeric in his eggs, some
little more
garlic
ginger.
to fight off whatever's bringing that
Yeah.
negativity into his life. But now
Right.
she's killing it.
Absolutely.
Her Bridge Over Troubled Water cover that she did
Oh,
with Jacob
man.
Collier's and
Tell me about it. Unreal.
amazing.
I feel like I could talk to you for hours about stuff. You know?
Oh wait, one more thing with Tori.
Absolutely.
Can I say she did a cover with Millennium, and I went to the Millennium
yeah.
show, and she sang live. And can I just say how it was amazing to see my worlds cross with Tori. Like
Millennium.
And Millennium together, and Tori like just rocking out.
Yeah,
She was just like,
headbanging.
I was like, "This is amazing, Tori. I love this." But anyway,
That's gonna be you.
I hope so someday.
With Millennium
Me
to
and
start.
you. If you when you learn more of the stuff, I'll offer a
Hey,
vocal.
same to you. I could just be the headbanger. I don't need to learn it. I could just be up there and
Oh my gosh.
headbanging. So you let me know. But
Okay.
it's been so fun to get to know you a little bit better
Thanks
and
for having
have
me.
you on the show and let the audience know what you're up to. And I'm so happy that you're doing well and you're feeling good and you're living life.
Thank you.
Can we manifest anything? Like, what do you want to happen this year? Like, what's the
Manifest.
goals? Yeah. Let's throw it out on the radio.
gosh.
Make it official.
Dude, like I mean, I would really love some EDM, like a good just club banger or like a DJ set song.
Yeah.
Like a smash. Like if I could play at one of the Insomniac events, like and have my vocal playing, that'd be so cool.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, or just like manifesting like a concept for my album, what the brand of David Archuleta is going to be now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to be like squeaky clean Mormon kid from Utah, and now I'm not that anymore. I'm like, who am I supposed to be? So I would
fun.
love to find my artistry and like whether it's like a kind of like a male version of what Sabrina Carpenter's doing or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I would love to just
Drop
connect
a song.
with people. Yeah.
First song, Cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
Just hit that lane. This stuff's so
Amazing.
good. I love it. Well, it's again, I'm such a fan, and it's been so cool to get to know you. And
Likewise. Good to talk to
we'll
you,
have you back in again. I can't wait. I
you.
feel like
Yeah.
there's big things coming. So
Thank
thanks for
you.
stopping by for now, getting to know you, and we'll talk to you again soon, man.
All right. Sounds good.